Hi, I'm Lynn and welcome to Ewetopia Farms. I guess we're on for shearing today. So I just got back from my ultrasound and I assume those guys have already started without me. Our feed dealer just arrived and they're actually picking up our soybean seeds that we didn't get planted because we were unable to plant the last 15 acres. And we're past the deadline now, so they've been taken away. And we're gonna hope for good hay now, if we can ever get on the field. So we've locked Max and Ben out of the way because they get just a little too exuberant during shearing. And Katie's out there because she's also excited, but she'll watch through the curtains. And we redid Ferdinand, even though Ferdinand was done earlier, but he had a lot of wool grown back, so we did him again. Oh, but he didn't do Hamish. What did he think of your shearing job? What did he think of your shearing job of Hamish?
He's seen it online.
Oh, he did? Yeah. So here's the boys. There's Felon sheared off. And that's Elton, and here we have Handsome, who's trying to be a little too friendly. You always got to watch him because Handsome has been known to hit people before. And we redid Ferdinand. Hey, buddy. And we're liking the look at Herman here. He's a lamb we had a while ago, and we've just never had the opportunity to use him, but he's looking really good, and I think we're going to put him in a breeding group. He's back here, but he's looking pretty sharp. Herman, put your head up so we can see you. There he is. That's Herman. He's looking very Dorsety, and his legs are looking great. Let me just try him out. So right now we're doing Dexter's son that we kept, and his name is Jed. They have to be a little careful when they do the rams at first, when they take the belly off, because of their little sheath for their penis there. Sometimes they can snap it off, so you have to be careful, or you have to, if they're not sure, you got to tell them it's a ram. But we thought we'd do the big guys first because they're so heavy and it's very, very hot and humid today. So we thought it might be easier on him to not have to deal with the heavy boys at the end of the day. We're almost done the rams. They were a little more difficult because they didn't want to go through the chute. But we didn't have a lure up front, so the lure definitely worked. There they go. The rams are done. They're going back. Gladiator didn't get done because he already had a hand job with scissors. So now we have lure sheep in the front of the pen. We're on the girls now, so they should load easier. The rams didn't want to load, but there was nobody up front, so they're kind of scared. But now they're all in line, and hopefully it goes a little easier because it's a very hot day today. And the sheep aren't too motivated to do too much. They'll be glad when they get their wool off, hopefully, except for the biting bugs now. Hi, honey. You're going to stay there a while. So this one, you can see she's in poorer condition. You can see her bone now that the wool's off. And I'm noticing that the wool's sticking to her a bit more. So if the sheep is in poor condition like that, does the wool stick more, or is that doesn't matter? More. It does. I think.
And then the bones make it harder too, because you're not getting a nice level surface.
Yeah.
You flip her turn over.
Yeah. And we're not listening to music. No. So these ewes that are getting sheared, they're the ones that are drying off that we just weaned the lambs from. So you can expect them to be in a little poorer condition because they've just been nursing lambs. And now that their wool's off, they'll be eating better. The lambs are off, so they'll be eating better. And Suffolks are very quick at putting condition back on. And you can see they still have a little bit of udder left, but they're drying off nicely. Those ones are nice and even. That's what you want to see. You don't want to see one that's blown up on one side or getting hard. They're nice and soft and even. That's what you want to see in the udder. This girl's a Texel cross, and you can see when you add the Texel into them, they actually hold their condition really well. They're a lot rounder, and if she wasn't struggling, she would be a lot easier to shear because they can make big, long strokes. She's doing a lot of kicking, which isn't normal, but when they don't kick, it makes it a lot easier. You see the wool's not sticking to her because she's still in good condition. There we go. See, she looks pretty good. This is another girl in really good condition. And as he goes through, he's getting good, easy strokes. Makes the fleece come off really nicely. It's easier for the shearer. And she's going to look a lot prettier. But she's in good condition. It's another reason for keeping your sheep in good condition. Makes shearing go a lot better. And this is a Dorset, different breed. Their wool, you can see, is a lot longer than the Suffolk. In general, they tend to struggle a little more than the Suffolk. But you can see her udder is nice and even and soft, and it's shrinking. So we know that she weaned her lambs well and she's drying up well. She has no mastitis. Dorsets struggle more, so he unhooked his shear so that nobody got cut by mistake, him or the sheep. So what he mentioned to me is that he's a lot more busy these days because a lot more people are getting into sheep and expanding their flocks, but also a lot of little starter flocks are starting up. And those people don't understand that to get a shearer, you have to book them well in advance because they are few and far between, and so they are extremely busy. So you cannot call the shearer and say, it's really hot, I need my sheep shearing today or tomorrow, because it's not going to happen. If you're in that kind of dire straits, do like I do. Get a pair of dollar store scissors and cut it off if you really have to rush. But try to give your shearer at least a month's notice. We try to do farther ahead than that if we can. And see how beautiful the Dorset fleeces are. They're thick and really white. You can even from here see the crimp on her fleece. She's giving him a little more grief because she's a little more strugglesome, but she's in good condition. No mastitis. I told people to give you lots of notice if they want shearing.
Sorry?
I told people to give you lots of notice if you want to have them sheared.
Thank you.
And right here in the chute now we have 141. She gave birth to the Dorset ewe lamb that we're going to show. And it's kind of obvious why we picked her ewe lamb, because if you can see the Suffolks up ahead and her, she's bigger than them. You're a very big girl and very pretty. And she produced the most, I would say her lamb was the best Dorset of the year. Yes, she was. She was beautiful like you. Yes. So, like I said, it's really hot in here today and humid. But we got all these nettles we have to cut down, and they're actually blocking the wind from getting in here. But we've been a little behind, so, but not much airflow today. And here's our big Dorset. She's a bit of a killer. And hopefully she doesn't struggle too much. Oh, she's gonna struggle. It's a Dorset trait. Do you want to shut that gate, Barney? Okay, she's causing a little bit of grief. She doesn't, because if she slashes him in the face with those back legs, the hooves will really slice you open. So you have to be really careful about that, because they're leaning right over and those hooves can hit them in the head. A lot of shearers don't like working on Dorsets because they are a little more wild, don't sit still as much, struggle a lot. Plus they have woolly legs and a woolly face, so there's a lot more to do on them. And then you have the customer who says to the shearer, "This is my best sheep." So now I've just stressed him out because he's got to be extra careful with her. Arnie's not doing well with the heat today. He's finding it a little bit overwhelming. I find as you get older, it's harder and harder to take the heat, but at least we're not like the southern US yet. We're not in the 100 degrees Fahrenheit, but you know it's coming. But luckily we should have all these, well, we will have all the sheep sheared before that happens. And of course, the bigger the sheep, the bigger the fleece. So she's got a really long fleece. He'd be cursing if it wasn't on video. But she has a beautiful fleece there again. We'll see her when she's done here. But you see, he is being very gentle with her. He is not harming her at all. They're just struggling because it's a funny feeling. She's being handled, flipped around. So, yeah, she struggles. But the quieter she is, the less chance that she will get nicked. And there she goes. Not shearing sheep is cruel. Shearing sheep is a kindness. So here's an example of a fleece that we rolled up here. This would be a Dorset fleece. And I'm going to try and get a nice clean lock here. If we split it open, you can see how long that is. And then that's the outer wool there. It's all dirty. It catches the debris. And you can see where it was cut off. It's extremely soft. I don't think you can see the crimp on the camera, but The more little crimps it has in it, the softer and springier it is, and the easier it is to spin, because the little crimps, when you spin them, hook together. And you can see my hands look kind of greasy now. That's the lanolin from the fleece. Really good moisturizer. Hi, sweetie, go back. Katie gets to stay in here because she watches quietly. Hi, good job. So we're going to take a lunch break in a second. But you can see the sheep are hot. They're laying against the walls. The door is open back there for them to go out, but most of them are not too keen to go outside. In the last video, people asked when we took a break, did we leave that poor lure sheep in the front all by herself while we took a break? And the answer is no, we don't. So we're going to finish off the one he's doing, and there's one ready to be pulled out. And then we'll take the lure sheep out and do her as well. And we'll head for lunch and reload another lure sheep after lunch. Oh, exciting! Exciting! You gotta feel better. This is a big Suffolk girl. I think she's a first timer. These are the bags we pack for the wool. Arnie's stomping the wool down to try to fit as many fleeces in a bag as possible. And in this bag we have the belly wool. We have a belly wool bag because that wool tends to be a little more mucky and dirty and matted, and the people at Wool Growers appreciate it if you sort the bad wool out. It makes their job of sorting the wool a little easier. I did a video on Wool Growers and the wool sorting plant they have there, if you're interested in seeing what happens to our Canadian wool. And the one in the front is not stressed out. You can see she's just sitting there quietly, watching what's happening. And Katie's there, enjoying the whole thing too. It's harder to get them out from the front. And again, he didn't harm her by doing that. To make them go backwards, you lift their head upwards, and that causes them to walk backwards. And if he tilts her head back far enough, it will help her just topple over so we can shear her without having to wrestle and fight with her. You can see how hot it is just by Katie. She's a little talkative back there. So our shearer is Jacob Heffernan, and I was talking to him at lunchtime, and he was trained a lot by his mother who sheared sheep, and then he went over to Scotland, and someone there also gave him tips on shearing, and then he went to Australia and took a week-long course there as well for shearing, and so that's where he got his skill. And he said that every now and then shearers will go get a refresher course because over the years, if they don't, they can start doing bad habits and not realize it, so they retrain just to get freshened up again. Those of you who watch shearers in the UK and stuff, you'll see that they often will just crutch them or shear. They call it dagging, I think. It's not a practice that is done too often in Canada. Jacob says there's only a couple of breeders he knows who does that. And dagging is when they just cut the wool off around the udder prior to lambing so that there's no wool in the area. But in general, most people in Canada, if they got the sheep tipped up, they're going to shear the whole sheep off and not do dagging so much. And fly strike is not a big issue in Canada either. It does happen, but it's not as common in the wetter countries, so we're not shearing dags off for that reason either. And I believe he said that in a year he shears 15 to 17,000 sheep. I'll double check that in a minute. Hey Jacob.
Yes?
How many sheep do you shear in a year?
About 16,000.
About 16,000. Hard to believe there's that many in Canada when he's just one shearer. Just come back to the house to prepare snacks, and I thought I'd show you what was going on out here. We got a major thunderstorm tornado warning right now going on because of the heat. I don't know if you can hear that thunder. So we decided to do the ram lambs, the small group that we've decided on so far. And we ran them over here before the storm started. So this way we can have a better look at what we kept back. But it's going black back there, if you can see back there, the sky. That's 3:30 in the afternoon. I lose track of who everyone is because all their numbers are getting sheared off. This isn't one of the three, but he is one of the ones we held back, so. These guys are going to look super pretty. They don't have much wool, but we do find in the heat, sheep grow better with their wool off. Look at how pretty that looks. Oh, you're pretty. What? Oh, now we're going to do a Dorset. Dorsets are sometimes a little harder. Oh, this is number 9. This is number 9, Ernie. There's number 9 getting done. Whoa. Whoa. I think we got a bad storm coming in right now. That doesn't look very good. Look, they say we got tornado watch. And look at the clouds. And the wind now. Oh my goodness. Not good, not good. Hopefully we don't lose power. Look at how dark it's gone in the barn, and we got a light on too. And you can see back by the bush where I said it was dark. Now you can't even see the bush because we got a major storm coming through. Also not good for the crops. Oh my God. Well, this is how we see how strong the coveralls are. Oh my God, Ernie. Oh my God. This is really, 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 really bad. trying to come in. This is the worst I've seen. And of course he's still shearing with electricity on while we have electricity. This is what you call shearing in a major storm. And this is what you call a crop destroyer. He's still got his music playing, and you can't even hear it, even a little bit. But look at these beautiful ram lambs. So the lamb fleeces, they're not very big, you can see that. There you go, buddy. We just got a tornado warning alert on my telephone right now. We didn't think this was going to happen today. This was not supposed to happen today. Anyway, we got Killer getting sheared right now, so we'll see what's under his wool. Oh, we can hear a little bit now. The wind died down just a little bit, but it's still pouring. Wow, was that wicked. Well, that cooled the temperature down a bit. He's extremely nice. The boys are being really good for lambs and first time ever being shorn. Here's another lamb almost done. The lambs are the most exciting because we get to see what we have, because wool hides all mistakes. Oh, you're pretty. Yep, so far I'm really happy with the ones we picked. It's moving off. You can still hear it, but the worst seems to have passed us by. We survived. And Buddy made it in here just in time too. Was that a little scary, Buddy? It was. It was a little scary and wet. No cat wants to be wet like that. No. Oh, I spoke too soon. Here it comes again. This Suffolk has little skurs on him. He's one of the February lambs. Normally we don't like to see skurs on Suffolks, but this guy is such a heavy meat lamb that we thought for a commercial breeder he would be a perfect ram. Oh, okay. I was going to say, I thought he looked a little slender. It looked like the neighbors had a strike across the yard there. There's quite a little lightning bolt in the crack. Actually, we got the wrong one. Number 2 is right here. He hasn't been done yet. We thought someone else was killer. Because they're all pretty much killerish. And this is the February lamb. So he's smaller, but a nice little ram lamb. Killer is next. This time we got the right one. Of course, when they're sheared off, we should still be able to tell them apart. Right now, you get so used to looking at them with their wool and recognize them with wool on. Buddy's coming up to join us. Buddy. That was scary, buddy. What are all these sheep doing? They're getting a haircut. And Buddy's gonna go visit them all now. There he is, waiting his turn. The big lad. And I'm not talking about Arnie. This is the before shot. And then we'll see what the after one looks like. While the shearer struggles with the Dorset lamb. Move your leg, Arnie. Oh, buddy, you're so little. This is the one. So he's doing an extra careful job on these guys. And the rain has started again. Killer, we're gonna do kryptonite. You know how it goes. I'm kryptonite, Arnie's killer, and we're both Kodiak. There's kryptonite. Can't you position him nicely? What?
That guy has the body, this guy has the feet. Come on. Really?
So I gotta show this guy and Arnie can't even move him, so that's gonna be hard for me. Okay, killer's almost done. Just in time for more killer rain. There he goes. How's he look? pretty good. Sometimes you're disappointed after you shear the lambs, but pretty pleased. And here's Kryptonite, my guy. Kodiak before shearing. Gladiator's son. He's a heavy boy, this one. Oh, heavy for his size. So really broad chest on him. Kryptonite is almost done. And then it'll be Kodiak's turn. There's the other guys back there. And the thunder still rages. And here comes the rain again. There's Kryptonite with no wool. Hi, bud. There we go. You look handsome. You guys all look so handsome. You guys are going to feel so much better now. Yeah, you're going to feel so much better. We're on number 3, now known as Kodiak. So we're going to refer to this crew as the elite group of ram lambs that will be for sale. And some of these will be showing. And I guess we don't have to shear them now. We weren't going to do this, but he suggested he'd do it, so thought, yeah, good. Just close to showtime, we'll touch them up a bit, that's all. Because they'll grow quite a bit of wool between now and the fall. Guys, the rain stopped just in time to bring these guys back. They're not going to like the puddles. There we go, buddies.
Ben, come here.
Whoa, jump over the puddles, buddies. Now they're going to get all muddy.
Come on, come on.
You're just going to leave them out here?
Well, I have no time right now, so the back door is open.
Is it? Okay. If it's open, they should go in. Well, you can check that. I'll do it. To end the day, we brought Monster over from the young barn, just so he could be the one and only young ram to get sheared. Max, get away from Monster.
Here. Sit down. Nah, here. Nah. Here, sit down. Sit.
And we can just run them back.
Yeah, the door's all open.
Yeah. Get up, Monster. It's okay. He was a mama's boy.
I can tell that.
He was so upset when we weaned him the other day.
He's still screaming for it.
Oh, you're a big baby. Max, come here. Ben. That way, buddy. That way. That way. Max, stay here. Max. Poor Monster.
Really?
Poor Monster. Go that way, honey. You look beautiful now. You look beautiful. Go on. Your barn's over there. So the sheep are all sheared. We're packing up now. And look at that. Blue sky's coming in. But you can see the evidence. Shearing up a storm. Hey. So I'm heading back in to write a check for the damages. And we're going to call this a day. And I hope you'll join us again tomorrow for the next episode at Ewetopia Farms. Bye for now.